talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Does volunteering at a nonprofit horse sanctuary sound wonderful? Or are you a veteran or a veteran spouse and think trying a peer group session through a local Horses and Heroes equine program might be worth trying? Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary, located in Grand Central Park by appointment only, is home to a growing number of rescued and donated horses. Visit our website at henryshomehorsesanctuary.org or check out our Facebook at Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary for more information.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
You are listening to the Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. We're so excited to have you. We love our listeners, and you've got a lot of places that you can listen to us, but I know that the Astros are going to play at 3 o'clock, so everybody's probably watching the pregame and all that, but you can listen to us anytime you want to because we get on Lone Star Community Radio. We are on the cloud, so you can call us down and want to listen to any show or watch any show. It's all there on the Lone Star Community Radio website, or it's on what's that one that
MySpace?
No, not MySpace. It's the.
I'm trying to think of what you're still on.
It's the MySpace, but
she will fax you a script from this show. If you'll send your fax number in.
YouTube. I'm thinking YouTube. I see is A. Why am I looking at A? Okay, but no, YouTube is what I was trying to think of. It's on there. We have over 200 and something videos, and you're in a lot
almost
of them.
50 views. So I mean,
we're getting up there.
Getting there.
Okay, wait. We've got almost all of Willis listening for sure, and then we're moving into Conroe. But we're in the Conroe Tower, and we're in a beautiful studio, so we're all bougied up and waiting for people to listen, and it's going to be great.
Which floor are we on of the many floors in the Conroe Tower?
Are
we in one or 1.5?
We're in one, and I kept pushing the P for the Princess Suite, and that's the parking lot.
It just opens up and it's a photo of you?
No, it's just...
Huh? That's a pretty good kiss up early in the show.
Bob Smiley is the one that you're hearing the voice of. It's not Richard. Usually he's the one that's really,
Well, ironically, the
so
pee ends
mean.
up in the dumpster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The dumpster room.
True. I just hope they don't have cameras. No, I tried to get out. I'm driving the Suburban and I'm trying to get out of it, and it's wet and it's cold and it's icy, and I slip off that thing.
When did you leave?
No, not today.
Okay, because I was going to say, did you leave at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, I have to get there early.
Yeah.
No,
Which has never happened, but we'll talk about your punctuality later.
It's a fantasy thing.
Yeah.
But I slipped off of that, and I'm holding food, of course, and I'm getting out, and I get out, and my knees are hitting the cement, and I thought, I'll never get up from here. And I don't know, I know there's cameras, got to be cameras around, so I'm trying to, act like, that's...
I actually tried to find the footage.
Did you?
I tried. I asked, I was like, y'all, how long do y'all keep this? Because I have a video of a lady falling, and it sounded really funny.
in the handicap parking lot. Yeah, thank you, Richard. That would have been it really would have been funny. I'd like to have seen that. But anyway, so I have no idea what that has to do with Bob Smiley, except that he's here because he's a funny guy. So could you do something funny right now?
Yeah, well, let's finish our conversation that we started before we.
No.
Went on. No, this will be good because I was going to say this anyway, but we were talking about dating and marriage, and my wife and I. Our age are a little different. She's a little bit younger than me. I wish she could be here today, but she's at a track meet. She's a teacher.
She's at Build-A-Bear.
She's at Build-A-Bear, making I finally got enough money to get. No, but she is a teacher. She's at school. But I didn't think the age difference was going to be that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. And then we realized we can't watch The Masked Singer because when they take the costume off, only one of us knows who that person is. Oh. Like that's the age gap. Mm-hmm. Like we were watching it, and the ice cream cone guy took his hat off, and my wife was flipping out because it was a YouTuber, like an influencer, and she was like, "That's Ninja," and I was like, "He's not a very good one because you're not supposed to see him until they attack." And then three episodes later, there was a skeleton, and I was thinking it was Martin Short, and the skeleton took his head off, and it was Paul Schaefer. Which you, of course, know. Yes. And I was flipping out. I was like, that's Paul Schaefer. And my wife was like, is he one of the Beatles? And I realized, okay, our age gap.
Is he a politician?
Is a little different, yeah.
Well, that's what the song Hey 19's about. You're going to have to look it up on YouTube.
Okay.
The song.
I'm not going to do that.
And listen to the
You'll get so many ads.
Yeah.
And listen to the words.
As a male, I'm not going to put in... What is it called again?
Hey 19.
Yeah, not going to put that into my search history.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Because Sarah will go, why were you concerned about that?
Yeah, hey,
Yeah. No.
I still get those men ads.
You do?
I still get them. I get them every day, and it's hilarious to me.
We were talking about spam stuff earlier, and the stuff that we get targeted for is ridiculous. I remember I was about to buy some motorcycle boots, and so I was talking about it with my wife, and then for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden, on Facebook, all of a sudden, motorcycle boots were just popping up, so they're listening everything you say.
Oh, that's so scary.
Mine are male enhancement mints. Apparently, I like mints, and I need male enhancement. So the combo is the mints.
Anyway, huge shout out to my Christian fans that are listening today.
You better say how much you love them. And
if we're going to say that, let me give a tip. Sarah and I, on vacation, we went to San Antonio. We went to Natural Bridge Caverns, and you get down into the caverns. It's amazing and everything. That. Do not eat Mexican food before you go down in the tour because the echo in there is ridiculous.
And it holds the smell. It doesn't. There's no way for it.
It's the first time bats were flying away from me. They weren't flying to me. They were flying away. One was flapping, holding their nose with the other part of the wing. It was not good.
Yeah. Okay. Note to self.
Yeah.
No Mexican food going into.
Oh, and last thing, I know you we have a whole plan of the show as we always do.
Yes.
But the other thing that happened the other day that I wanted to share with you really quick that I thought you'd think was brilliant was I was at Sam's. I was kind of in a hurry, and so I get my cart and I'm going by, and there's the two salespeople over by the TVs or the phones or whatever they're going to pitch. You know how they always want to stop you. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. And they were both about 25 years old. Richard, you would have hit on one of them. And welcome to my last show.
He likes them young girls. Okay.
But I was like, and of course the girl stepped up, and I had do you know what a skunk ape is?
No.
Okay. A skunk ape is Florida's version of Bigfoot. And so they have a skunk ape that hasn't ever been seen, but has been seen by everybody, and it's a big tourist thing. And so I have a shirt with a skunk ape on it. It is real. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I looked it up.
It's totally real. And so I'm wearing a shirt with skunk ape on it. And so she steps up and she goes, "Hey, what's that on your shirt?" And I don't know why I had not thought of this before, but I hold up my wedding ring and I go, "I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to talk to beautiful women." and she just freezes. Like, you can tell she loves the compliment, but she's thrown, and I just keep going. And I get about 4 aisles down, and I kind of look back, and she's still standing there. And then all of a sudden, she turns, she goes, "What about beautiful men?" And because her partner was standing there, and then she goes, "No, that's not right." Like, she said that out loud. Like, you could tell she was so stunned she couldn't think of anything, and then she thought about something and just threw it out there, and it totally. But I'm gonna start using that forever now.
I'm not okay. So she says. Gives you a compliment, and you held up your hand with the ring.
No, she was trying to stop me so she could sell me whatever it was. So she goes, "Hey, what's on your shirt?"
Yeah.
And I just go, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to talk to beautiful women."
And that was good because she can't get mad at that.
She can't argue with that.
And she can't be offended by that.
No.
And so that's
I'm
great.
being the good husband. I'm walking, I don't need to
Now
talk with
Sarah doesn't, your wife Sarah does not go like, "You didn't have to put beautiful in there."
No, I told her this yesterday, and she thought it was brilliant.
Okay,
like, she's
very
all
good.
about like little funny ways to get out. We don't like salespeople at all, and we've had a ton at our house. It's kind of funny, and this leads into our topic today. But it's funny because I will handle that because I like knowing what their sales pitches and all that stuff is, and I kind of play the annoyed person, and a lot of times I am because I'm in my office working and stuff, and I went out. This was right before the election, and knocked on the door, and I was in the middle of writing, and so I walked out, and I was like, "Yeah," and I was like mad, but I also was kind of using that energy to get them to feel. And it was like 4 people, and one of them goes, "Bob Smiley?"
Oh no!
And all of a sudden, I changed. I listened to their sales pitch. I took photos with them. I somewhere have the political sign that they wanted me to put in the yard, and I was like,
"Yes,
oh yeah, no, tell me more about you." I was like,
they know my
I'll do
name.
anything for a view. Just one more view.
Yes,
on
that's
YouTube.
good. Well, now we have, you weren't the only one that's going to be on the show today. I'm
Right.
sorry. We're going to have to share this Cindy Cochran show. And it's very special because we're having you, a Christian comedian, who's had thousands of fans watching him, adoring you, and you've got some good stories from it. And then we have Don Wilson, who has been front row.
He's seen some fans.
He has seen thousands of fans because he was with Elvis Presley, and he found out that they were actually grooming him for the Memphis Mafia, and he found that out later. That's why Elvis kept him around and wanted him to learn what they had to do.
Yeah,
he won't tell me what they had to do, but anyway, no. But Don Wilson has so many stories, and only a few he can tell. Right, Don? So anyway, we're going to bring Don on. Don's going to be on the phone because he's had a sinus infection. His voice is kind of gone, and he says he's going to be sipping whiskey while he talks to us today. So we're going to see how long we can keep him.
This should be a really good interview.
I tell you one story. Cindy.
We may get the answer to the mafia.
That's
thing.
true. That's true. Hey, Don, are you there?
I'm here, Cindy. How are you doing, beautiful?
Oh, see, that's... I don't know how to go on from that. That's so... You had me at beautiful. I am so glad...
How you doing, Bob?
Hey, it's good to finally meet you. I do have a quick question. How did you know they were grooming you? Because I feel like I'm being groomed for the Christian mafia.
Well, I have no doubt after what I've seen. Well, one of his guys, Richard Davis, pretty much told me that. He just kind of flat out told me. But I do want to tell you that I'm speaking only because of Bob today, because I took his advice in one of his Smiley minutes. He was talking about this guy. What was it? He drank a quart of lemon juice.
A liter. Yeah, a liter of lemon juice in 13.6 seconds to break a record.
To break a record?
Mm-hmm.
And it helped his sinus infection?
No.
Oh,
I was
okay.
being sarcastic, but it was a funny thing that Bob was talking about.
That was a great callback, actually. That was a really good callback.
Understand that a lot of times Bob says things and does it so convincingly that he's got a fact he's giving you, and it's not fact, it's fiction, and it's funny, right? I've seen
I don't
you.
lie. I tell
you're not
I tell
lying.
a parable,
It's
just like Jesus.
Oh, It's a pair to
It's a
parable
parable.
to what? A parable to what? No, it was. I was looking at your politician when you were doing the. It was with the mask, wearing the mask, and you had Xander in it, and you had to give him toilet paper, and it was during.
It was all the COVID, new COVID rules and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just reposted that because I was like, okay, I think we're getting so far away now that maybe I can put that stuff on the line without it getting shadow banned. But you know what? You can't. Like they still, on TikTok, yeah.
Oh, I love that. But Don, you were front row seats to so many thousands of fans of Elvis, and have your perspective of what fan base is and how fans react. And we were just talking about there's really I think there's a comparison to a Christian comedian fan base and to Elvis, not the screaming. I don't know, they didn't do the screaming and crying, although Bob said, what did you say about the crying?
They cried if I thought we were talking about dating, and I was like, they usually cry after the date.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So anyway, so we were saying I thought there's some kind of comparison there or link. What do you think?
Well, yeah, there is. And back in the 70s, when I was in Houston, there was an evangelist, I think he's still down there, Phil Arms.
Yeah.
And he had Peacemaker. And it was like a coffee shop, and it became very big. It wasn't as big as the Osteen Church. But, he would bring in rock bands, Christian rock bands and stuff, and they had following. And sometimes I even got some screams, but it's a different dynamic than secular entertainment. But I mean, it still has some of the same particulars. Like you have a tent here and a tent there, a little crazy over here, a lot crazy over there, and right in the middle of the road, like they're okay.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that, But it takes everybody,
But Elvis probably feared more for his life than Bob has in your performances and things like that. You didn't think that? I mean, some fans may have followed you home.
I've had some mean hecklers, but I've never really been worried about my safety.
You haven't, okay. But so you didn't have to hire bodyguards or anything like that.
No, but when I was single again, and then people found out, I would have to try. My whole mentality was hang out with everybody in the church, because most of my shows are in churches. Hang out with everybody at the merch table, talk to everybody. I would get whoever my liaison, a lot of times the head pastor, to walk me to the car, and then I would just try to get to the hotel room as quick as I could, because there were times where people, like females would follow me to the hotel, and I would try to be nice, but I just was not messing around with any of that.
Oh, see now. What was your experience?
You got to be careful, It's like, for a time there, I did Elvis tribute show. I mean, I stopped when I was 42. I wasn't going to go past that. And I played Las Vegas, and, I had women throwing up, envelopes with their key and their number. And, I'm not going to do that, because you got to be very careful. And I noticed that a lot of, I tell you real quickly, I would go in, nobody knew who I was. Okay. And I had my jumpsuit in my bag over my shoulder. I couldn't even get through the crowd. And then I come out, and everybody's just clamoring, getting on top of you. It's everybody is into it. It was just because of Elvis. It wasn't had nothing to do with me. Some of these guys get all big headed about it. No, it's not you. It's who you're portraying.
Right. But you had
personal. But it's the same thing with keys and stuff. Yeah, Bob Smart.
yeah. You try to get to safety as quick as you can. And I also knew that it wasn't because I was so great or anything. It's because people, when they see somebody stand on stage and they make them, laugh for over an hour, or they, like Elvis would do, like just take them on a crazy ride and everything. So when you stand on stage and you have a spotlight on you, it makes you look more powerful and more interesting than anybody else in the room. And so then, like, people want to have a little bit of that perceived power that you have. They want to get close to it. And, if people just meet us afterwards, and I'm sure, like, I didn't know, obviously a lot about Elvis, but I'm sure he was just a regular dude once he got off the stage. Or maybe
Yes,
not,
he
maybe
was.
not.
And I got to tell you something, Bob, because you reminded me, and I've told Cindy before, too, just because of what you said about that power on stage. Well, I would be with George Klein, Richard Davis, Red West, Elvis's guys, who really were around him a lot more than me. But, fans came from all over the world, and they would converge, and they'd meet us. And I remember this one girl, and I believe she was from Germany, and she just kept looking at us. Very pretty girl. And and I said, what? She said, can I just touch you? And so she just reached out and touched their arms and stuff. And I had like this shock. And then George Klein, his high school buddy, said, wow, it's just like, and I said, what is it? He said, you touched Elvis and I've touched you. Pretty wild,
That's amazing. Well, this is what I was talking to Bob about, is that girls see you up there and you have created this, all these people are coming to see you. And so your popularity just rubs off on them, and they just want to be part of the group, and they want to come up and talk to you, and to be able to say, yeah, he talked to me. Yeah, I got his autograph and all that. That's a big deal. And with Elvis, because Elvis was perceived as the king. And I don't know, do you know this about Elvis? Whenever he got on stage and they had a big sign that says, Elvis, the king. And he stopped and he said, no, I'm not the king. Jesus Christ is the king.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is that cool?
Oh, that's crazy cool.
I love that.
I did not know that.
Yes.
But it is weird. Like, you actually reminded me.
Yeah, I got a recording of that, so that I'll have to, send you. Cindy, you can play it sometime. But that's one of the things that Elvis talked about. In fact, a lot of times when he would call girls up to the house, he would sit there and read the Bible to them.
They weren't expecting that.
I mean, he really would, he would just, have his little, congregation, and they'd just be fixated in their minds, of course, it's Elvis, but that's what he wanted to do, and he was like J.D. Sumner, Elvis's bass backup singer. He said Elvis was God's bell sheep. Because he brought a lot of people to God.
That's right.
And there was this one instance I want to say. There was a man who didn't believe in God, but he was an Elvis fan. And when How Great Thou Art came out, he got the record, and he was so touched by it, he became a Christian. That's the power that Elvis had.
That's amazing, because he did so used it for good.
I wish I would have talked to you back when I was single, because that's a great way to do it. Be like, a woman wanted to come up to my hotel room, I'd be like, yeah, let's do this. Leviticus chapter 1, and just jump into the Bible.
Especially
right.
Yeah.
But that's the way it would happen, of course. And then there was a couple of girls that, became regular, and they would just sit there and study with him,
Oh, that's great.
When he had time, away from tours,
Yeah.
Well, whenever I went to interview Tom Jones, one of his guys were standing in the back, and we were talking, and so I said, is Tom Jones and Elvis good friends? And he said, yeah, but we just stopped kind of going around Elvis because all he wants to do is talk about the Bible and read the Bible. And I went, what? And he goes, yeah, that's what he's really into that. And so I don't know, we just don't have a lot in common anymore.
Wow, I did not know any of that.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah, and Elvis one of his best friends was Rex Humbard, the evangelist.
Yeah.
And he's the one that actually spoke at Elvis's funeral, and of course he performed at Oral Roberts University, and of course Oral, met with Elvis, beforehand. Elvis really had a time where he really wanted to be a preacher, and of course Colonel Parker was, through the top. And he just Elvis loved gospel music, and that's what he would sing until the sun came up. And because he loved God, and that's just who he was, and he didn't care about the money or anything. And I was with Elvis at one point where it was in his trophy room, and I thought it was over the top at first, but then I looked back and it really wasn't. And I said, "This is amazing." And he said he put his arms out, he outstretched his arm, and he said, "This is all but for a day."
Mm. Oh, very. See, he really he was.
So he got it.
Grounded. Yeah. That was amazing. But he did. Larry Geller was his hairstylist, and we interviewed him, and he was talking about how Elvis liked him because they talked about spirituality stuff, and that's what he felt comfortable talking about. He wasn't really comfortable about the celebrityism of anything, but he just wanted to talk about being spiritual. And when somebody had that kind of, light about them, then he wanted to be around them. And so he took Larry Geller out of the job he was in. He was in the first man's salon thing, and he took him out of that and said, "You're going to be my personal, stylist and stuff." So he could talk to somebody that he could, share that with.
Okay, here's a question.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with me and Larry. He's one of my best friends, and of course, I'm glad that you guys know each other now too. So
yeah, he was great.
Hey Don, here's something I wanted to ask you. Have you heard the story that Steve Martin tells about meeting Elvis?
Oh yeah, and he had seen Steve open up for Anne Margaret.
Yeah.
And Elvis came backstage and he said, "Son, you have a very oblique sense of humor."
Yeah.
And I think that he would get you too, Bob. I really do. And he'd probably call you Bobbert, because there was this guy that Elvis knew named Bob, and he said, "Hello, Bobbert."
Well, it's like whenever Sebastian came out and started his comic routines, and they were all clean, and they were all funny, so funny. And so you felt like maybe there's a hint of hope that somebody can come along and make this popular. And people like Bob Smiley have, and they're known all around the world now.
Well, even bigger guys, we're seeing a huge flux of people wanting clean comedy now, because Nate Bargatze, his specials were hitting huge on all the streaming platforms, and then he did SNL and killed it on SNL. And so now people are starting with him, and now they're looking for clean comedians. And so everybody is kind of all of a sudden elevated because, I think it really kind of started with Nate. And, Brian Regan's been doing clean comedy forever, and, now he's just selling out everywhere. And so I think we're seeing a switch of people are kind of tired of the dirty stuff, and they're, now realizing like, oh, clean comedy is good. And we feel better, we don't feel bad afterwards,
And the family can come.
Bob, I saw you, Bob. You did it's on YouTube. You did a live performance at a church in Indiana, and I was cracking up. You're really funny. So, and I can see you doing something like Saturday Night Live and some, big gigs and stuff, because like you said, I think that the world's ready for it.
Well, Bob is an interesting comedian, because he'll tell a story and you're never finished with that story yet. He's got more that he's getting ready to come up. People start laughing, and they're laughing, and that's funny, but wait till you hear this, then he brings a twist in at the end, and it really is, that's your style. I mean, you really have a style, and it's amazing. So, but
yeah, Bob, like when you were talking about if Jesus had a cell phone and he was at the the Last Supper, that still gets me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you hear that one, Cindy?
No, not.
Cindy's not really a fan. She acts like she is to get me to come in here like once a month, but she doesn't watch any of my stuff.
I have to shame him. I have to shame him to coming in. I was trying to give his child, his youngest child, his graduation present. And so I kept saving up the money to give to him. And then I didn't see Bob, or when I saw Bob, I'd already spent the money. And so I was having a hard time getting this money. But I'd shame him. I said, I want you to come get the present I want to give to your child, and I want you to give it to him. So you need to come to the show. And so anyway,
I had to do the show 3 times before my son ever got a gift.
It was so
sad.
It
turned out it was a Lone Star pencil. So it wasn't even worth being on the show.
You better say you're lying because I had to save up and get a second job and get that money.
You blessed him very well. You blessed him very well.
And so then Sam had to pass away, and I had to shame him on that. Like, okay, I need you to come be on the show.
Yeah, that guilt text. I've had a lot of guilt texts from Cindy, but yeah, my husband passed away, and so now I need you to come up here and, be, hey, waka, waka, waka.
And make me laugh because I haven't had anything to laugh about. No, but he really is such a staple of this show. And whenever we put his name up, we're going to get his fans, and he does a lot of begging for people to listen to it so he can brag about it. But
laughter is the best medicine.
Yes,
though.
it
You
is.
know that, Cindy.
No, brother, yes. Oh, yeah. But you have got so many great stories about Elvis and when you were when you're around him, and you introduced me to his nurse, and his nurse gave me some more stories that were even more intimate. I have to go probably can't talk about that on the show, but we could talk about this. And was she from Mississippi or Mississippi? I don't know. She was just
she
down
lives
home.
in Memphis.
Yeah.
So.
But she was just a down home girl, and she just would talk about everybody that he ran around with.
You guys may have already covered this, but do you have any stories of crazy fan things that you can share on this with my Christian audience? I'll go first and give you time to think about it, Don. But I got to a church one day and had set up merchandise and everything, and it was still about an hour before doors opened. And I needed to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bathroom, right next to the lobby of the church, and nobody else was in. But I didn't know they started letting people in that arrived early, and so I go into the bathroom, and I'm in there for maybe a minute and a half, and I'm in a stall. I'm trying not to be graphic, and all of a sudden I hear somebody come in the bathroom, and then I hear somebody stand there for a second. And then underneath the stall, I used to sell these 8x10s of me, like a photo so I could sign it after the show. And I see this 8x10 slide under the stall, and I'm staring at it. And then I see the second hand come under with a Sharpie. And I go, hello? Here's where it gets really bad. It was a female, and she goes, I'm so sorry, but my friends dared me to come in here and do this. And I am a super private person when it comes to anything bathroom related. I still lock my doors at my house, and the fact that she was here to see my show and that she went into the male bathroom, plus what I was doing in there was not of Jesus at all. And so she could hear and smell everything. And she was like, so will you sign this? And I was like, I will sign this.
In a hurry.
I will sign this out in the lobby where it's appropriate, but this really is highly inappropriate. I got very serious.
Oh, good.
But I also knew I was going to sign it because I made $3 by selling the photo. So I'm not going to turn down $3. But yeah, that was one of my weirdest.
You charge more for a bathroom signing.
Yeah, I should have charged them. Yeah, you can have $3 lobby
I've never
photo.
had anything like that happen. You topped me on that. I met Paul Newman one time. It wasn't at church, and I asked for an autograph, and I guess he was in a good mood because I stopped signing autographs after a guy came up next to me at a urinal one time and asked for one.
Oh yeah.
He said, I just pictured this rope.
Yeah, exactly.
For this guy, So, but that would be a little bit more, I don't have a free hand,
Yeah. Okay, I got a story that doesn't involve me, but it kind of does. So there's a famous Christian rapper named Toby Mac. He used to be in DC Talk. And then I'm friends with a comedian named Darren Streblow. And I don't think he would mind me telling the story, but
good.
They were at a festival, and Darren walked in, and Toby was at the urinal, and Streblow walked up. And there were only 2 urinals, so it wasn't like he had an option to not be right by him, but he's right by him. And he's just standing there going, this is Toby Mac. I want to meet him. And he knew I was friends with Toby. And so he goes, hey, I'm Darren. I'm a comedian. I'm friends with Bob Smiley. And Toby was like, oh, I love that dude. And Darren goes, I don't know what made me do this, but I reached my hand over to shake his hand, just not even thinking. He was just so fanboying. And he said, to Toby's credit, Toby shook his hand, and they finished their business and went and washed their hands really well, and then went out on stage. But
I love that. That's hilarious.
I forgot about that until Don said that about the urinal.
Bob and I actually, that's so funny you said that, because Bob and I actually connected on bathroom humor. And it was actually, he took what had happened to me, and it happened to him at the same church. It's when I was working at this church, and I went up to go to the bathroom, and the guy that was cleaning up stuff turned the light off. And it wasn't an automatic light that goes off. He came in and turned it off because he thought, who's up? And
when you're in there for an hour, that's understandable.
But
There's nobody in there.
But I didn't know that he never turned that off. It was an automatic thing. They had gone to the automatic light after so long.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Yes.
And so I'm sitting there going, this is ridiculous. It goes totally black. I mean, you can't see anything, so you're feeling around. And so Bob says, you know what you have to do? He tells me, he says, you take the toilet paper off of feel for the toilet paper, get the toilet paper, and then throw it. It will cause the motion and bring the light back on again.
So if you're ever, so this is a self-help show now.
It is, yes.
But if you're ever in a public bathroom and the automatic motion sensing lights go off, take a roll of toilet paper and toss it up in the air.
Yeah.
And the lights will come back on.
But here's what happened, though.
Things you learn on the Cindy Cochran show.
But here's what you don't do. Note to self. Don't take it and throw it. Because I threw it and it went away. And I'm going, now I don't have any toilet paper, for crying out loud.
You take the spare roll. You don't throw. And I just throw it up in the air.
That's what I mean.
You just hurled it like a grenade.
I hurled it like a grenade, and I was going like, okay.
Tell me you yelled fire in the hole.
You're trying to hit a basket, right?
Yeah, I was going like, oh my goodness. So I thought, oh, Bob's gonna love this. So you can add that to your okay.
Yeah. No, I did. I remember that now. You and I were talking about that. So I did write a bit about that, and did that for years.
Yeah. So it's.
You want to know my other? As long as we're doing self-help and we're not talking to the famous Dawn, which we're totally wasting our time not doing. But here's another little travel tip. You know how you go into the bathrooms, especially at airports, and they have the automatic flushing, and they flush even if like the molecules move in the stall. Like it just flushes on you, and all of a sudden you get a hickey. Like it's not a good, pleasant deal. So here is what I've figured out for years of traveling.
What?
The bag tags, when you get the bag tags after you check your bags, you just peel them off and you put it over the sensor before you sit down, and it won't flush until you stand back up and take that tag off, and then the sensor's back on and it'll flush. And so that way it won't flush when you're halfway through your show.
Okay, so
well, that's good to know.
See, we're learning today, Dawn.
See,
we've got a whole new show here,
and before they had the automatic doing that, you just had to be careful. But I had to go to the bathroom right before I was going to do an interview with Sugar Ray Leonard, and so
hold on, you dropped this name here. Do you want that name back?
Yeah, did I not say it slow enough?
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard, the famous boxer. No, anyway, so I had my script and I had my questions and everything I was going to ask him, and I put it on the back of the toilet. And once you start to reach to flush, you will knock off anything that's on the back of that toilet because you're reaching like this, and so there went all of my down the toilet. It was all the questions and everything. I thought I'd probably stopped it up really bad, but it just kept on going and flushed all that down there. So.
And then you had to wing it, right?
Yes. If you ever see the Cindy Cochran show and watch me giving him an interview. It's great. So, no, he wanted to know everything I was going to ask him before, so we went over that. But that was horrible because I thought,
So-
there it goes. Anyway, that is-
Anytime you are stumbling with questions with a guest, we just know that you've had stomach troubles beforehand and just lost your script.
I just lost the script. That's all. No, I
Now
didn't.
we know where your questions might go.
Yeah, that's right.
See the way, but we on all of our shows, we go. Brianna was on here on Tuesday, and she goes Wednesday. So she's saying, you know what, we never stay on script, do we, Cindy? Because we were talking about the Astros starting today.
Oh, yeah.
And she's such an Astros fan, and so she said, but you go in every direction. You have no idea what I mean. And I remember when we first started, Richard first started as the producer and the owner of the radio station. He said, okay.
Yeah, my son has a pencil from his company
He,
as a graduation gift.
did I give that one away? That
Go
was
ahead.
away. Anyway, so he holds up this pie chart. He says, okay, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep the show we have a theme. We're going to come up with a theme, and then we need this many minutes for this part. And Mark Hader and I looked at each other and went, okay, that sounds good. Okay, all right. So anyway, so what did you do the other day whenever you said that you were going to? And we went on with the way that we did the show because I couldn't follow a script or do anything.
Well, and the best part is I was like, she'll naturally get into her own timing.
Yeah.
Because it is a timed show. There has to be an end.
Right.
And she still doesn't realize she has to do Wootton financial spots. So she's always like, it's not 55 yet. And I'm like, well, there's 2 minutes of Wootton financial we need to include. Oh, okay.
But I have so
Every show I have to remind her. I'm like, how do you not learn this?
And how do you not talk about Wootton Financial, a phenomenal financial group that is... I was going to try to wing
I was
it.
supposed to.
What I almost want to do is this is when I wish we had like a glass studio where I had glass between Cindy and I could put like LEDs up saying like you need to say Wootton. Just keep flashing it. And then what I love is I just cut her off at the end of the show and I fake countdown. I'm like, you're already off the air. I'm just letting you.
He says, I'll let her think she's still
Yeah, you
talking.
need to have it set up like that, like the Fraser show with the Fraser Crane character and his producer, Roz behind the glass.
Yeah.
Cindy, you can't do that.
Well, see, what's so stupid is that our shows are so, informal that you could stop me at any point and say, Cindy, shut up.
It's more of like when I say like I put a 2-minute warning up. 2 minutes in Cindy's mind is, that's 15 minutes. So I won't even talk about ending the show for 2 minutes. And then when the 2 minutes is up, I have to end the show. And then she goes on this spiel. And I'm like, no, 2 minutes.
He only gives me this, and I know what that means. And so he
No,
says
I've seen him give other signals with his hands, but we can't talk about that again because of my
wrong
audience.
finger,
Yeah.
wrong finger, don't do that. I know that. You're going to have to go wash your hands now. Okay, so anyway, because I always want to end with saying, thank you to my guest, of course, and then thank you to Wootton Financial Group, and then thank you to the first responders.
See, that was like
that's,
20 seconds. You should do that every single time.
but
it's
I
not
have
like
to
that.
say something about them. It's personal. It's a personal goodbye. But Don, I'm so sorry that Bob talks so much, and you can't get anything.
Oh no,
in.
I'm enjoying it. It's just like we were just talking about Elvis. But you and I've talked about talking about name dropping. I think I've met. I can tell you more people that I haven't met than I have met. One's Bob Smiley, and I hope I get a chance to meet you, Bob.
Yeah, we need to fix that. I need to get a show up here. Are you in this area?
Oh no, he is in
Oh no,
Indy. Are you in?
No,
where are you now?
I'm in the Midwest. I'll PM you and let you know, and then when you're around, you let me know.
Okay, all right, yeah.
All right, Don, if you really do need to come back to Houston at some time. He grew up in Houston, so he should come back, and at least you could come by and we could see you physically come in here and sit down and talk, and people would just be all hanging outside the window. So.
And you could see the Conroe Towers. It is almost seeable.
He can't get over that.
I might be moving to a warmer climate. Who knows? I might even come back to Texas. But it's been a long time. I got to tell you something real quick. You're talking about the Astros, and I saw a little bit of Brianna and you yesterday. But I was such a dumb kid. I went to the Astrodome, and I was at an Astros game, and the foul ball hit me right in the chest. And I kind of smarted, but I picked it up. I didn't know what to do with it. I guess it's a game ball, So what do? I throw it back, and it's like, here's half the Astrodome going, oh
no.
The dumbest thing you could ever do. That's not my ball.
Yeah, they probably weren't doing well.
Stupid things I did in Houston.
That's great, though. What a great story.
It hit you in the chest.
How long ago was that?
72.
Okay.
He knows exactly.
He remembers.
I think Don Wilson might have been at bat too. I don't remember.
He marks time
from. He was a batter, wasn't he?
You've had all those experiences in Houston, and see, he loved Channel 13. That's why he knows me. I know, and when he saw me, he screamed and cried, and I said, Don, please don't do that. And
put a photo of you under the stall, and he was like, will you sign this?
Yeah, it was really sad.
Well, I also think it's...
Yeah, I always had a crush on Cindy. I always thought she was cute as a button, and so... And then, but I have great memories of Channel 13. I remember I saw John Wayne in Baytown when I was a kid, and when he was shooting Hellfighters. And they didn't get anywhere close to him and had it roped off, but the spectators could watch, and they had the KPRC TV news truck there. I saw that, and then I looked over, there's the Duke, and he finishes his scene, and he just kind of walks over and waves at everybody because he couldn't meet everybody, and he's just like, hi, everybody. So I have some interesting memories from Houston, too. But
yeah. You met a lot of people.
It's a great place to grow up.
Well, no, you met a lot of stars and all that.
Well, I have a question for that I wanted to ask him, if it's okay.
Sure.
So did you meet anybody, because of your connection with Elvis, did you meet anybody that you were wanting to meet, that you were like fanboying over? Like back in the day, like you were a fan of somebody and you got to meet them because of your connections.
Well, I guess it's just too numerous, to mention. I never asked him to do it, but indirectly, because of Elvis, I met so many people. Like one, for example, was Anne Margaret.
Wow!
I never would have met Anne Margaret. Because I've always, loved Anne Margaret. But, indirectly, just about everybody. I mean, because if it hadn't been for Elvis, I probably wouldn't have got out of my shyness, because after I met him, I could meet anybody, and he kind of gave me, confidence to do a lot of things.
I have so many pictures that Don has blown my phone up with him and stars that he's met and talked about. And so we never had any kind of, I think you said one name, and I went, wait a minute, I interviewed them. I can, but it's just, he has met everybody. He knows everybody.
So have you seen a movie called The Villain with Anne Margaret?
Oh yeah, and Kirk Douglas. That's one of my favorite ones. That's crazy.
That helped shape my comedy.
Douglas too, so yeah, he's kind of cool. In fact, I'll tell you something, Bob. When I met Kirk Douglas, he was at an autograph signing. It was a slow day, and it was in Beverly Hills. And I said, I just saw you in that movie Champion, and back in the late '40s. He said, yeah, I remember when I did it. And he said, I can still take anybody on. And this is after his stroke, and he says, put him up. And I'm like, what? And so, and he comes over and he kind of gingerly hits me and everything. He's like, hit back. And so I'm in this punching match with Kirk Douglas. When did that happen,
I'm going to let him win.
Anyway.
Oh, man.
That is so good. Yeah, that movie had a huge impact on my comedy stylings, because I saw it when I was a kid. Cindy, you would love it. Kirk Douglas plays like the Roadrunner character. It's a Western, but he plays the Roadrunner. Anne Margaret is the damsel in distress, but not really. And then the only other main character, his name is Handsome Stranger. That's his actual name. And he's kind of the doofus cowboy that doesn't get everything. And he's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's the weirdest casting, and it's one of the best movies I think in the world. That's a great story about Kirk Douglas. It's called The Villain.
The Villain. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob, you reminded me of something. Not too many people know about this, but Elvis's favorite cartoon was a Roadrunner, and he had the, if not the first, Roman Polanski might have had the first, or Elvis, probably Elvis, video recorders. But Elvis would record what he wanted on television, before anybody else had it. And I was with Elvis's cousin Harold Lloyd in the guard shack. He said, "I got to call up Elvis and remind him to record the Roadrunner." And I said, he said, "That's his favorite show." And then I saw Bugs Bunny on there one time, and he hit his guitar and he went twang, and he's like, "Eat your heart out, Elvis." I walked up to Elvis and I said, "Did you catch that?" He said, "Yeah, man, that's pretty cool." But Mindy Miller, who Cindy knows, was one of Elvis's girlfriends, and she said that he would go beep beep to her.
Don.
Like the Roadrunner, but just things that I come up. So you never know what you're going to trigger me.
See, I know, because you know everything. Having a conversation with Don, he usually calls me when I was at Kroger, and so I'd be walking down. I said, if people only knew what this guy was telling me, it's just they'd go crazy.
While you're in the grocery store.
Yeah, we're in the grocery store. Okay, I've got 2 minutes now. I've gotten a 2-minute warning, and Don, we're gonna have you back on Zoom. Okay, as soon as you get well.
Okay, next time,
Okay.
Next time.
Okay, we'll do that, because I told them that you're sipping whiskey and trying to just give us your voice, and that's fine.
Nice to meet you, Bob.
Yeah,
You
I
sound
appreciate you
great.
jumping on here, Don, man. Thanks for the stories. They were awesome.
You sounded great, Don. Thank you so
you're
much.
You're awesome, too, and I love you, Cindy.
I love you too, Angel. So sweet. Okay, take care.
So
and
I
tell
guess he
everybody
doesn't
how-
love me.
No,
Like he just
you chop
loves
liver. What do you want?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, I want to say thank you to our first responders. We love you. We admire you. We just can't believe how brave you are. We thank you for everything that you do. And have fun. Watch the Astros. This is today, 3:00. Hurry home. Oh, we got to get out
I'm
of here.
gonna go meet Wootton. So
And Chris Wootton, thank you for being our sponsor. Thank you. I hear the music. Okay, bye. Call somebody you love.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
Vell Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit, began in 2014 with a mission